As President Trump's lawyers, we are proud to fight to protect his leadership as our president, and we are vigilant in standing against entities like the AP that refuse to put America first. Edward R. Martin, U.S. Attorney, District of Columbia. Is this the guy that they got to? He's the one that signed the motion to repeal the charges, right, or rescind the charges against Eric Adams, right? Is he? Or am I making that up? No, maybe I'm making that up. I don't remember the name of that lawyer then. President Trump's lawyers. What a cringe and disgusting thing to say. After seeing how many things Trump changed with the stroke of a pen, what are some things that he could have signed to more fulfill his empty promises? I mean, he hasn't really changed anything yet. Nothing's really happened except for him damaging and destroying us everywhere, reputationally, and like throwing wrenches into the government. But in terms of what's going to actually stand, who knows? Are you thinking of Emil Bovee? No, that's the Deputy Attorney General, but he had to have somebody else sign the, what do you call it? It's not a rescind order. It's not an order. That's what a judge signs. The request to dismiss charges. I don't know if there's a more formal, fancy pants name for that. Somebody linked this. Tax cuts are primarily responsible for the increasing debt ratio. I've heard this, that under Biden's administration, the majority of the additionally incurred debt basically went towards paying off the debt from the Trump tax cuts plus the lost revenue from those. Although, to be fair, this is a little bit of a one-sided analysis because you can say tax cuts are responsible for the increasing debt, but you can also say a refusal to cut spending is responsible as well, right? Because you could cut spending, but nobody wants to cut spending. That's the issue, you know?
Я очень рад вас видеть, во-первых. Во-вторых, хотел бы высказать слова благодарности и вам лично, и всем представителям ислама. Все люди, которые исповедуют ислам, это органичная, естественная часть России, общества российского. За тот вклад, который вы и другие духовные лидеры вносите в единство и согласие народов российского ислама вносят нет так эффективно.
Are you guys staying where they are like that? I got slightly different holders, but yeah, they're staying back there. I got a new bookshelf too. I just had to put it together.
Love this opportunity to duke it out, okay? Love this opportunity to duke it out, okay? There are YouTube video compilations. If you think that people are aggressively anti-me and that actually helps in the algorithm, I promise you, yes, I have drama in the title because it's a bait, okay? And it's stupid. I hope you understand. There are a lot of people that have made a lot of money shitting on my former podcast co-host. Some of it is for valid reasons that I suspected he changed from, okay? And some of it is not. But it doesn't matter. What matters is if you're exclusively interested in the drama of it all, there is a million things that...
By the way, the drama of it all is literally the only thing that Hasan is interested in, which is why he will never, ever, ever respond to any of the actual political substance of any of the arguments against him, and it will exclusively be him turning into the most degenerate Keemstar tier drama farmer.
He has in his background that people have fucking regularly garnered millions of views over. Do you think I don't know how to fucking make a video like that? Of course I do. And there are plenty of others who do that. Okay? The reason why I don't do that is not because I'm some incredibly moral person who's above it all, even though...
Why do you think he's even popular? What's redeeming about him? I mean, obviously he's attractive. I think he's reasonably funny and entertaining to watch. But the most important thing is that he's ridden like the popular, like young Zoomer socialist movement. It's been like that for a while. Eventually the winds will change. Or maybe they won't. We'll become a Marxist country for real. But
I do think there is, you know, I don't care to entertain this kind of shit. Okay. The reason why I don't do that is because I'm not a fucking drama content creator. If I was, then this would be a wonderful opportunity for me to get millions and millions of fucking views.
Again, all Hasan does is drama when it comes to addressing substantive critiques against his political positions, but...
Okay?
Okay. Like, he could respond to Ethan's video and respond with good substance to every single point and, like, flesh out his political views and everything, too. It'd be good, especially because there's big audiences now that have watched it. And it's not to be mean. I'm not trying to shit on him, but it's Ethan Klein. You should politically dwarf this guy. So if he's coming at you politically, you should be able to dispatch him with alacrity, right? Did he ever do a high effort video in the past 5 years? He doesn't have to do a high effort video. He can just go through it and just like debunk it all or whatever. People will say this about you in the Ryan Beard video. When Ryan Beard makes a video criticizing my political positions, then I'll go through it and I'll debunk it all as well. What do you mean? It's not the same thing. If Ethan made a video just shitting on, like, I don't know if Hasan should have to respond to Ethan's claims about like his dog, but the vast majority of Ethan's video about Hasan has to do with his political takes and his defense of terrorism, which I think is fair as he's a political content creator. What are your thoughts on the $5,000 Doge dividend? It will never happen. And it would be retarded if it happened. What's the point of how we're not even saving money? It's just reducing the deficit, which is still money that you owe. Elon abandoning his kid on stage. Extended video. Wow. Don't make me comment on this. Turning into an incel. The problem that produces Trump is the same problem that produces Hasan, and seeing who's in power right now, if the winds don't change, will likely be in a fascist situation. Maybe. I mean, it's all the same shit, basically, right? You just circle jerk, echo chamber as much as possible, and then your own analysis of situations will always revolve around you're kind of like narrativizing the facts, and then when you deal with other people, it's always just drama, and you never confront anybody on any of the actual like substance of the political disagreements. But what are you gonna do?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm calling from West Virginia, and which was a red state for Donald Trump, and they have a place called down here Public Debt, and a lot of my neighbors would vote for Trump. They walking around scared, crying, nervous, and they were forever Trumpers. But on a personal note, I'm a diabetic and I'm on Medicare, and when Joe Biden was in there, my insulin was $6 for a 28-day supply. I just went to CVS to get my new supply. It went back up to $80, they said, because the American Recovery Act was canceled. So it went from $6 to $80. So I don't know if anybody else out there on Medicare.
Okay, rip. According to Republican revisionist, President Obama only sent Ukrainians blankets when Russia invaded Crimea and the Donbass in 2014. In reality, President Obama's leadership saved Ukraine from being entirely taken over by Russia. Obama rescued the Ukrainian economy while collapsing Russia's economy with strategic sanctions and shale exports. Obama provided U.S. lethal aid while overseeing Soviet-era arms being transferred immediately to Ukraine and training Ukrainians to use U.S. arms later. Obama sent U.S. forces into Ukraine to reform the Ukrainian military's training and mobilize hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian soldiers to later be able to fight on par with Russia in 2022, saving Ukraine from collapse. I feel like I'd read that Trump was the first one who sold lethal aid to Ukraine. Am I making that up? Wait, is this Obama or is this like a poster cutout of Obama? Hi, I posted here a week ago about Assad supporting jihadism. This time I have a 10 to 15 minute read about Obama's strong response to Russia's 2014 invasion of Crimea. Oh boy, this is one of my talking points, that Obama's response was super weak and not good. Here we go. Everyone at the top of the CIA and military agreed with all of Obama's decisions as they were presented with the same information he was. Republicans control 80% of foreign policy discourse and lied about Obama to cover up Russiagate and to cover up Bush actually not doing shit about Georgia in 2008. But Obama is the reason why Ukraine didn't collapse in 2022 as well as in 2014. The Ukrainian military itself is a legacy of Obama. Obama sent CIA ground troops into Ukraine to assist Ukrainian frontline forces killing Russians in 2014 as well, and he sent the FBI to Ukraine to purge all of Ukraine's institutions of Russian moles. Basically, Obama took Euromaidan to the Ukrainian state itself. Shouldn't be very surprising he waged war against Russia all across the world, while Republicans stood with Putin under Obama's term. Putin hates Democrats in particular because Democrats stood with his bullshit under Obama and later under Biden. Article also details Trump's first term, where he undermined Ukraine in more ways than is commonly known, and details Trump assisting Russian military conquests. Russia invaded half a dozen countries under Trump. When Russia first invaded Ukraine, U.S. intel had been left unaware until 1 week prior, under the Republican head of DIA and documented Russian agent Michael Flynn, who would later assist Jared Kushner's attempt to give Syria and Ukraine to Putin under Trump's grand bargain plan with Russia. Hold on. Was Michael Flynn a Russian agent? I thought he just lied to the FBI about communicating with... How true? Where are my foreign policy people? Fuck, I don't trust anybody. Late 2000s. 30-hour speech from Obama trying to mobilize Europe back in 2014. It's a good speech. 30 hours? What a warrior. Mike Flynn runs intelligence and PSYOP for General Stanley McChrystal in Afghanistan. Charles Flynn is McChrystal's chief of staff. Christina Bobb assists Flynn on all matters related to operations and intelligence. McChrystal is exposed by Michael Hastings and resigns from the military in disgrace. Obama names Mike Flynn as head of the DIA. Flynn takes command of the DIA with an abusive chaotic management style along with Flynn facts. First American to visit GRU headquarters and develops a relationship with GRU boss Igor Sergun. I'm too lazy to dive in all this shit. Wait, Flynn Ben Stooge, bug trader fellow, on par with Roger Stone. Really? Best argument for Obama drone attack against a Republican? What? Was Obama attacking Republicans with drones? With the Havana syndrome?
In the early hours of December 4th, United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was shot.
Can we get some Fs for dying people? Bruce Rivers' son recently passed from drug-related stuff. And his son was the one that was helping him. Maybe was even the one responsible for Bruce Rivers actually finally getting a YouTube channel set up. That's super sad. Also, regardless of our disagreements with him, fuck, what was he called? Was it the divorce attorney? Or no, it was a different name, right? No, fuck, what was his name? Who am I thinking of? Oh, the lead attorney. That was it. Apparently, the lead attorney has a really, really, really bad bout of... I don't remember what kind of cancer. Oh, it was right here, the lead attorney. Shit. Like a super bad bout of cancer. And I think he's like expected to die within like a year or two. So also rip. That's super sad. Wait, people are saying that I'm trolling.
The lead attorney said what? Final. You frequent and a few, not an exhaustive list.
What the fuck is this video?
Cancer is scary. Cancer, like, you know, I won't put in.
Does he not have a simpler
20 kids. And I said, I know you don't enjoy making these phone calls. I can tell by your spirit.
Is he the red pill lawyer that you had on? He was like in that space, but I feel really uncomfortable calling him like the red pill lawyer. I don't think he was a red pill lawyer. I think for the most part he was fair at most of the things that he spoke about.
And the reason why you're asking all these questions is really for my benefit. You don't want me to be driving or some bullshit like that. So I said, listen, if I got 90 days, just tell me it's okay. I ain't got no kids. It's just me. You know, I got a mom and a sister, but you know, nothing like kids and a wife.
I'm talking about the Obama executive order about killing a civilian with a drone attack. Oh, I'm pretty sure he was within his right to do that. I don't think it had anything to do with that guy being Republican.
So I said, you know, you don't have to anguish over this call. I don't know about your next call, but this one's good. This one's okay. It's okay. She was like, no, you know, I don't want you to think like that, and everything's preliminary. I don't know what's going on. I'll be honest with you, but you got some test results, and it doesn't look good. But it's out of, you know, I'm a general practitioner. She's like a family, what do you call them? Family practitioner, family doctor, whatever. She's like, you know, this isn't my specialty. She says, but I'm going to refer you to an oncologist. And I'm like, here we go. I know what that word meant. I know what that word. I don't know about medical terms or anything like that. I know oncologist.
We put so much money into cancer research. Why does it feel like we're still getting fucked by nature? Okay, the first one I'm pretty sure is true. Children have like a 90% survival rate with leukemia now. That's gotten significantly better. I thought that I heard just recently that like the all cancer survival rate is like for the first time also past 50%. Am I making that up, or was that a true thing? But our technology and everything in dealing with cancers has gotten significantly better. We just don't really hear about it much.
Kind of roll my eyes. I'm like, man, here we go. So she was like, you know, he's a really good oncologist, and you know, you'll be able to get in there really quickly. I'll write on whatever the report that this is serious. So, you know, I've scheduled you for some tests that I know that he's going to want, and so this is kind of my handoff, and so you'll be seeing him.
Fuck. Okay. I don't know when he says it here. I didn't want to go over this whole thing. I was thinking this is like super sad.
It's good.
Oh, muted. Thank you. That's exactly what I wanted to happen. Thank you.
It's good. The cancer that I have is not curable. So it's not like I'm going to beat it. But it's manageable. And they told me that at least your boy got 5 years.
Oh, never mind. Okay. I made it a little bit more dramatic, but still.
I'll take it. Now, you don't want to say at least, because then I go out in a hurricane and get hit by.
This guy's what, in his late, my guess is like mid-late 30s? That's, yeah, damn. Rip. I feel like when I say rip, that's not supposed to be like disrespectful. Also, he's not dead yet. Never mind. Forget it. Show your respects. Is it early 40s? Okay, back to this.
In the early hours of December 4th, United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was shot outside a Hilton hotel in Manhattan by an unknown assailant.
Shoots him in the back, takes off on a bicycle.
Video of the gunman fleeing the scene showed him riding through Central Park and later taking a taxi to a bus terminal.
Guess what happens when you go through the city of New York? Camera, camera, camera. Guess what happens when you go to a bus terminal? Camera, camera, camera. He was trying to be incognito with a black hoodie and black pants.
They released photos of the man wanted for questioning in connection to Thompson's killing.
Take a look at these photos.
5 years is plenty. Most people don't have that long anyways. What, bro?
I mean, you couldn't have a nicer photo to identify.
The suspect was recognized at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania on December 9th.
Probably the most expensive hash brown in history.
Every day I think of who Luigi targeted and who's still walking, and I get more mad at Luigi. Oh, hold on, let me use the restroom, guys. 1 second. Wait. All right. I'll sub if you get this right in 1 minute. If 10 chickens give 10 eggs in 10 days, how many do 100 chickens give in 100 days? This is supposed to be a hard riddle, but I've done these before, but I don't remember how to do it. If 10 chickens give 10 eggs in 10 days, that means that one chicken lays, wait, because the temptation is to say one chicken lays one egg in 1 day, but that's not true. If one chicken laid 10 eggs, it would take 100 days. Wait, why am I mind fucking myself on this? If 10 chickens give 10 eggs in 10 days, how much do 100 chickens give in 100 days? Would 100 chickens give... Wait, why am I so retarded? 10 chickens give 10 eggs in 10 days. Means that one chicken gives 1 egg in 10 days. So 100 chickens would give... I'm retarded. I've lost my brain. Just fell out of my head. Ten chickens can make 1 egg in 1 day? Does it work that way? 10 chickens, 10 eggs in 10 days. So 100 chickens would give 100 eggs in 10 days? So it'd be 1,000 eggs? Holy fuck. I'm fucking retarded. Did we do it? That's the right answer, right? Jesus. It's okay. My God. Because if 10 chickens do 10 eggs in 10 days, one chicken makes 1/10 of an egg per day. 100 chickens in 1 day would make 10 eggs. And then 100 days, so 100 times 2 orders of magnitude from 10 to 1,000, right? I think it's 1,000. Okay. Fuck you.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Oh, I'm so happy that my Windows key works now.
Hi, this
yes.
is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to
Bruce,
another
what's up?
fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your board-certified criminal defense lawyer, coming to you with my pearl-handled pistol cufflinks so graciously gifted to me by our former content genius, Michael Rivers. God rest his soul. Today we're reacting to Luigi Mangione. Now, if you remember who Luigi Mangione is, he is a young guy who decided that the healthcare system wasn't to his liking, and he decided to eliminate the CEO for United Healthcare. And so he was arrested kind of a while ago. And this is one of the things that happens in criminal cases. They don't happen quickly. The government's got had until February 17th to indict him, and then more time for trial preparation, and his state court appearance is set for February 21st. He's looking at a lot of charges, both federally and in the state of Pennsylvania. He's got murder and furtherance of terrorism, which may be a little bit of a stretch. They've got to prove that they have to prove that he intended to inflict fear on the general public, basically. He was really more trying to shake up the industry. So does he have a shot there? If you say he's not trying to further terrorism, I mean, what's he trying to do otherwise, honestly? So, and then the other, what is his defense? This is a situation where he was so careful until he got to McDonald's, and that's where they fucking busted him. This guy was a brilliant student. He was came from wealth. He was an otherwise, unremarkable individual, and not somebody that you would guess would do something like this.
Luigi Mangione was arrested for possession of an unlicensed firearm, forgery, and providing false identification following a tip-off to the police. Mangione was brought to a courthouse building in Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania. The New York Police Department confirmed his arrest that day.
At this time, he is believed to be our person of interest in the brazen targeted murder of Brian Thompson.
So, since then, once they figured out who he was, they had writings on the casings of the bullets. So they said, deny, defend, depose. Basically, deny the claims, defend your actions, and depose the witnesses. That's essentially what he's talking about here. Because do health insurance companies make money by paying claims? No, they make money by denying claims. Anyway,
it's not true.
So
okay.
They were able to track, once they found him, then they just backfill everything else in. And I think he even had a manifesto, if I'm not mistaken.
CEO of United Healthcare last Wednesday in Midtown Manhattan.
Just hours after his arrest, Mangione was charged with the murder of Brian Thompson by prosecutors in Manhattan. He plans to fight his extradition to New York to face murder charges.
And we all know what happened after that. He lost the extradition. I mean, extradition is just really a mere formality unless you can prove that it wasn't you, that you were not there at the time. So here's the unique thing about this murderer, Mr. Mangione. He has developed a following. He has developed a kind of a cult-like following. Two reasons. One, he's a handsome dude. So there's some loser chicks who like handsome dudes that have been captured. I don't know who those loser chicks are, but that's who they are. They love that kind of stuff. But secondly, he also is getting a following for his views on healthcare. There's a ultra left-wing liberal.
Do you not make money by denying claims? Explain that, bro. Health insurance companies are only allowed to make as much money in administrative fees as a percentage of the overall claims that they pay out. They have to actually refund you if they don't pay out enough claims. I believe that ratio is 1 to 5. 1 to 4. 20% of your revenue has to be paid out, or I'm sorry, only 20%, up to 20% of your revenue can be paid out in administrative fees. 80% of what you take in has to be paid out in claims received or claims paid or whatever.
Whatever you want to call it. Anti-establishment, anti-healthcare, or healthcare.
If you exceed it, and this has happened sometimes for some insurance companies, if you exceed it, you have to pay all of your customers back a reimbursement check.
Liberal, whatever you want to call it, anti-establishment, anti-healthcare, or healthcare companies, which I'm kind of one of those. I'm not super ultra left liberal. I'm fairly liberal, but
Is that all insurance companies? Just health insurance companies, I believe.
Which I'm kind of one of those. I'm not super ultra left liberal. I'm fairly liberal, but people talk about the healthcare debate, and I don't think government-run healthcare is any worse than what we already have with these companies that deny claims. You can't get the proper healthcare a lot of times.
They make money with commodity futures, stock options, etc. for the companies themselves and health insurance, no. I believe that there's a name for the type of money goes in and out of health insurance companies way too fast. It's not like life insurance or whatever, where you have a lot of time and you can make a ton of money from investing the payments that you receive, the premiums that are paid. You can't really do that in health insurance.
But in any event, I just know too many horror stories for that. So we have over 10,000 fucking donors. 10,000 donors to his campaign, or his campaign. It's not his campaign. His campaign to be free, I guess. But his defense fund, over $500,000. And when this was done, $200,000 in the last 10 days. His lawyers are loving this because they're getting paid. But here's the other thing. There has been an issue with the way the government has come out with the discovery in this case. You can have a case that is perfect. But if the lawyers handling it fuck it up because they're either too zealous or they don't follow the rules. Remember what happened with Alec Baldwin? Alec Baldwin's case was not dismissed because there wasn't evidence. It was dismissed with prejudice because of prosecutorial misconduct. They got a conviction from the other person. Why didn't they just follow the rules? So his lawyer came out with a press conference. Let's watch Luigi Mangione's press conference.
Is that 80% the number of claims or 80% of dollar? No, 80% of premiums received, I believe.
So here's the scoop on doing press conferences. I almost never do them because, let's just face it, our clients are usually fucked. But sometimes you have to because if she's fighting back. And what is she fighting back against? Probably some prosecutorial misconduct. Releasing footage or releasing evidence that she doesn't even have yet as his lawyer. And if that's the case, is the government stacking the deck? Is the government tainting the jury pool? Is the government doing something to make it impossible to get a fair trial?
This is breaking news.
My intention was not to give a press conference, not to give remarks, and not to speak outside of court because I think...
But I'm going to do it anyway.
The most important thing is to speak in court on the record. But since video cameras, the application for a video of today's proceeding was denied, I thought I would give the remarks that I gave in court out here so that people who are interested in hearing what's happening to Luigi Mangione can hear what's happening to Luigi Mangione. So I'm going to do my best to stick to the remarks that were given in court.
Might be a dumb question, but if Alec Baldwin got out because of some legal technicality, can't he be re-prosecuted? It depends on how the case is dismissed. If a case is dismissed with prejudice, then that means it cannot be tried again.
First, I want to start by talking about...
Now, that's okay. Why is that okay? Because the court is a public forum.
Destiny can categorize expenses creatively to make sure they still meet the MLR requirements while minimizing their payouts. You're not seeing the bigger picture. If you're a sole proprietor with a gross income of $70K per year, sure, but health insurance is one of the most highly regulated industries in the country. There's 0% chance that you are doing creative expensing to get over that 20/80 rule. That would be insane.
So I'm going to do my best to stick to the remarks that were given in court. First, I want to start by talking about...
Now, that's okay. Why is that okay? Because the court is a public forum. Those words are a matter of public record anyway. Now, if you sit there like Alina Haba, remember that chick, Donald Trump's lawyer? When she gets out there and, well, I think this judge is just a piece of shit, and you don't do that. It's unethical to do that. There's a rule about it. You don't do that. This is okay because she's just repeating what's been going on in court.
About the fact that Luigi Mangione remains in federal custody, where he is being prosecuted in 3 jurisdictions, by the federal government, by New York State, and by Altoona, Pennsylvania. But he's being held in federal custody, and the Department of Justice has refused to allow him to be in state custody, despite the fact that they've all agreed that the state court is going to go first. Now, this is problematic for several reasons. Number one, the federal government is still considering whether to execute Luigi.
So, when you have multiple jurisdictions, who gets the first bite at the apple? Well, there's a thing called the Supremacy Clause. That's why the feds get the first bite at the apple. And then New York and Philadelphia, or New York and Pennsylvania work it out among themselves.
And considering whether to seek the death penalty. So we are fighting that simultaneously while going first here in state court. And it impacts our ability to meet with him before court, after court. He's constantly surrounded by law enforcement. He's in shackles. He's wearing a vest today. Looked like I don't even know what it looked like, but it was a very serious vest.
Oh, I'm actually so curious. I'm so curious how it looks like if you're defending like multiple like criminal cases where the penalties are so different from one for the other. Like, let's say, for instance, let's say you're being charged on a state level with like robbery, and then on a federal level you're being charged with like murder that happened during a robbery. Now I know that usually the state would charge you whatever, but like let's just assume that would happen. Like, your defense would probably change significantly in the robbery charge. Like, you might try to fight it harder or go with a different legal theory for your case knowing that that federal case could be informed by the outcome to some extent of that state case, huh? That seems like, I'm curious how, I don't even know. I have no idea where you'd even begin or how that is balanced out or whatever.
That's his leg shackled and his arms shackled.
That is there. I'm not sure exactly where he's being held, but when you get to the facility where he's held, you can meet him there. You can meet him there without shackles. You can meet him in a room without, without the vest, without handcuffs, and without anybody else around. So it does make it more difficult in federal court, because when I go to federal court, I can't meet with my client really alone. I mean, I meet with him alone, but he's in a room, there's glass between us, or in Minneapolis case, a big thick screen. But you can't, it's hard to pass documents back and forth. It's really hard to communicate.
And so he's being treated differently because he's being held in federal custody than any other person who would be facing serious murder one charges in New York State court. And I made a record for it today that...
What percentage do you have of Luigi being freed? Very low. Unless there is some huge procedural error that's done, which there's no excuse for because it feels like a slam dunk case, so...
facing serious murder one charges in New York State court. And I made a record for it today that I don't understand what this show of danger is for. When I go visit Luigi at MDC in Brooklyn, I sit with him. He is unshackled. He walks around freely in the visiting area. We sit in a room together without...
Let me just tell you, it's there for everybody's safety, for his safety, for their safety, and to make sure he doesn't do anything. I mean, he's demonstrated that he's kind of a dangerous guy by killing somebody. But he's also demonstrated, you saw him walk into the police department. So they're going by protocol. They're not treating him any differently, to be honest with you.
Covering over us. But for whatever reason, here, despite all the law enforcement, they need him to be wearing this vest. They need him to be shackled, and they stand right over us, and we get no time with him. So he is being treated differently because of this unusual and, frankly, just the fact that he's being prosecuted.
Percentage on them executing him? Well, the first-degree murder charge in New York State was made first degree by adding on that in the furtherance of terrorism thing. But I mean, like, when you had a guy who literally, I don't know if he wrote a manifesto, but he's writing things on the bullets. Like, it seems like terrorism was literally the express goal of what he was doing. So, yeah, I don't know.
Being treated differently because of this unusual and, frankly, just the fact that he's being prosecuted by 3 jurisdictions for one event. It all is about one thing, one single event. So
one really bad event. One really, really bad event. Murder one.
We checked that. We also made a record today that although the Manhattan DA's office has been providing discovery, we're past the discovery deadline, but they have made an effort to provide discovery, and we appreciate it. But
in criminal cases, it's pretty rare that and there's just a discovery cutoff. I mean, a lot of judges will say we need a discovery done by such and such a date, but you can always extend that. Let's say some witness comes forward that you didn't even know about, and they contact your office or contact your investigators. Well, what happens then? I mean, what do you do? I mean, you just, I can't talk to you because discovery's caught up. No, you say, no, we need to extend discovery, and here's why.
But what we haven't received is the police paperwork from New York City. We haven't received any of, they call them DD5s. Those are the follow-up police reports that detectives write. I'm sure there will be hundreds of them, and we have not received those yet. Very important. We've also just today received the discovery regarding the arrest in the Altoona case, and we've received a little of that previously, and we are concerned that Luigi's constitutional rights were violated in Pennsylvania, and there are serious search and seizure issues that will be litigated in that case in Pennsylvania and in this case here and in the federal case, because it is alleged that Luigi had a gun on him and had other property on him that they are going to use against him in all of the cases. And if there is a search and seizure issue, and again, we have to review all of the paperwork and camera footage when we receive it before we say definitively whether we think there is one. But so far, what we are seeing is we think.
I'm going to tell you right now, I doubt that there's a search and seizure issue. He's caught on camera fucking shooting somebody. There's a thing called exigent circumstances or hot pursuit. Those are exceptions to the warrant requirement, because generally you need a warrant to search somebody's home, their place of, their car.
How long after the shooting did they catch him, though?
Or even your person.
Also, it's okay. Remember, I always ask people to remember this when it comes to unions or CEOs or whatever. People are always representing their own interests, and they should. That's a good thing. It could be that some of the arguments she's bringing up ultimately are bullshit. My guess is most of the procedural stuff is probably followed, because holy fuck, you'd have to fuck up really bad to not follow them in this case where everything is so obvious. But it's still good that somebody on that side is pushing back. You always want there to be good defense lawyers, especially if he's potentially facing capital punishment. Again, it's first-degree murder, so you should make sure that the state or states involved are crossing their T's and dotting their I's. There's nothing wrong with that.
Generally speaking.
We think there is a serious search and seizure issue, and so we want the opportunity to litigate it, including in Pennsylvania, where he was supposed to have a court date on February 24th, but the Department of Justice is refusing to transport him and allow him to face the charges in Pennsylvania. So he cannot litigate those issues in Pennsylvania. And which brings me to the most important point that we made today, which is Luigi's right to a fair trial is being infringed upon because he is being publicly treated as guilty and as having the presumption of guilt as opposed to the presumption of innocence, which is what he is entitled to. And although, of course, I understand the NYPD's need for a press conference before an arrest or after an arrest, which they did.
One of the things that, necessitates a press conference is when somebody's on the run and they don't know who they are. How do you think they even fucking got this guy? They put his fucking mug on TV. Oh, by the way, here's McDonald's. Here's my hash brown. See you later. We solved the crime. Why? Because we had a fucking press conference. So that's normal. That's routine. And you're not entitled to presumption of innocence in the matter of public opinion. You're just not. It's when you get to a jury that you're presumed innocent. Like I can sit here and preach all I want. Why is that? Because I'm not in charge of anybody's freedom. But you get into a courtroom, you are entitled to the presumption of innocence. You're presumed innocent until the government has proven your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. They have to prove each and every element of the crime beyond a reasonable doubt. Let's say they don't prove the terrorism part of that case, that this wasn't done to further terrorism. Maybe it was just done to protest. That's a way they could possibly win that count.
Did here. I didn't like it, but they did it, and I understood it. What I did not understand was how shocking it was that this week on HBO, in a documentary, I see the chief of detectives and the New York City mayor, full hair and makeup done, sitting down and giving an interview for television and talking about the evidence in Luigi's case, talking about police paperwork that we don't have.
That's a fucking problem. That is a real problem. Especially on HBO, it's a nationwide show. They're going to have to really sift through jurors to find out, do you know anything about this case? Have you seen any of the, I watched the HBO. You can't sit on this jury.
Talking about forensics that we have not yet received. I guess we have now today, but I didn't when I was sitting there learning about the case, hearing an actor play Luigi, reading from a journal that they say is Luigi's, and we have yet to receive it from the prosecution.
That would piss me off. As a defense lawyer, that would really piss me off, and she's right to be indignant about it.
And so it's outrageous that they have time to go and prejudice Mr. Mangione's ability to receive a fair trial and go out and make these statements, but not give this to us. And so we are concerned because if the chief of detectives is telling everybody about all this evidence, and what if it ultimately gets suppressed because it was an illegal search and seizure in Altoona, Pennsylvania, how is he going to get a fair trial? So
it's a good point. A lot of ifs. If, ands, and buts. If it's, ands, and buts were candy and nuts, every day would be Christmas. If. That I don't think they're going to have an issue with the constitutionality, but I don't know the case. So I'm going to preface it with that.
So those are a little bit more than I was allowed to say in court, but that's the gist of it. That's what my prepared remarks were, and hopefully will allow cameras in the court going forward. If not, I will continue to provide information. We put up a website that just has basic information. It's luigimangioneinfo.com, and we will post a transcript of today's proceeding on that website, and that's where we are going to be providing hopefully accurate information about this case. I apologize, I'm not going to take any questions, and I'm not going to make any other out-of-court statements, because this is truly intended just to be a recitation of what happened in court. But one last thing is Luigi really wanted to thank the supporters for being here, and we all appreciate it very much. Thank you so much.
All right, well, that was a proper defense press conference. Now, let's look at one more thing that you see across the street from the courthouse. Oh, here's a picture of, before we get to that, here's a picture of his defense lawyer, and here's Mangione. I mean, tell me he doesn't look like he's right out of Central Casting. I mean, he's a good-looking guy, good-looking defense lawyer, fashionable shoes that he's wearing.
Why do you think the judge denied the trial being recorded? The first one is a federal one, right? Federal stuff is almost never on video, right?
Shackle. But that's being
Or were they talking about the New York State one? Maybe they just didn't want it to be recorded because they're worried about the activism and everything. I don't know.
Shackled in federal court is standard. So he's not being treated really like anybody differently. He's got the vest on. Tell me how the vest is prohibiting any communication with him. It's not. So it just had, but when they're in court for a trial, he'll be wearing street clothes. He won't be wearing a vest. He won't be shackled. He'll look normal, just like you would, because you can't, it's unconstitutional to have a defendant in prison garb during a trial. So, and then one last thing, this is a picture of a jury nullification. It's a sign that was right outside the courthouse. It's paid for people over profit, New York City. That's free speech. You can do that. What is jury nullification? Jury nullification is, it was like OJ. I think OJ was jury nullification. Jury nullification is when the facts clearly have been proven, but we're going to find the other way anyway. That's what jury nullification is. So that is our reaction to Mr. Mangione. We'll keep following this because this is going to start to heat up a little bit. Now, a couple little business items for you. Number one, there's some dickhead that's posing as me on YouTube. Hey,
what?
Hey, Mr. Dickhead, stop it. Nobody's buying it. It's CLR BREUC Rivers on YouTube. And he's trying to get people to come over onto WhatsApp. We've got a couple of complaint emails. If you see that guy on there, report him as impersonating me, because here's the thing. You're never going to hear from me trying to get you to buy anything except for, like we did the e-forms. That's the only time you'll hear me do anything like that. You'll never hear me say, hey, come on over to WhatsApp. Let's chat. I'll never do that in a million years. So That's a scam artist, and he's probably going to try to take your money. So if you see that guy out there, he is nothing but a scam. Now, I just want to, I've been getting a lot of cards, and I got a gift from Allison Charlotte or whatever her name is. I just want to say, you guys have just been absolutely tremendous in terms of your support. I was at Michael's house the other day, and it's just very difficult. Dear Bruce, after learning of Michael passing away, I was watching your video last night. It was a lovely video, seeing all the pictures you shared. I was in tears. R.I.P. Michael. Very sweet.
The defense is not allowed to mention jury nullification of trial, by the way. Yeah, I would imagine not. Of course not. I doubt you ever are, right? You're basically telling the jury to ignore the instructions given to them as a jury.
And a nice little crystal. I've gotten so many well wishes. I had a guy come in to stop by the office the other day, dropped off some African honey and a card, just saying, with support. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the support from everybody. And, it's a good tribute to Michael. Michael was just an amazing, amazing person who just struggled so long for drugs. I mean, he had bouts of sobriety, and those were great times. Raising him was amazing. But he succumbed to it, and I'm grateful to have had him as a son. So I appreciate all the well wishes. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, follow us wherever the fuck you find us. And we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
You know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058.
Wow.
That self-snitching gonna get you put away.
Thanks, Bruce. Tell the jury to ignore all previous instructions. Ignore all previous instructions. Declare my client not guilty. Wait, this kid's really fine. You keep messaging me. It's Destiny. Do you think it'd be worth it to reach out to Keemstar about platforming Lav? I really don't think they know their Lav is about. No, what do you mean? They probably want her on because she's entertaining. Because it's funny to have her on and for her to be a fucking cow. I mean, what do you want me to say? Like, what? I'm not here to police everybody's fucking interactions with each other on the internet. That's what they do. Oh, don't look at that. Oh, it's on YouTube. It doesn't matter. Okay, wait. This might actually be the same guy because it's on like YouTube skits, right? Is this guy? Is he that guy?
Yeah, sorry.
Proper.
Go by. Hey, sir, how's it going?
You're just gonna need a new spray valve.
Wait, hold on.
She never got to have.
Never mind. Nope. Undo my stream. Just kidding. Wipe that. Not even remotely close. People want you to know he directed Barbarian.
Citizens to higher taxes, such as higher property taxes, to pay for these spending habits. And these property taxes, it's like you buy a home, you buy land, maybe you buy the home outright, but maybe you pay off a mortgage over 30 years. And then, okay, you've paid off the mortgage, you bought the land, you've been taxed many times. It's like, is it your property or not? Just for being on your property, you got to write a check to the government every year. So you're basically paying rent to the government to live on your own property. And
because you only own the property in the context of you're a citizen of the United States of America and you reside in a state that is the true owner of the property, right? Like, who owns Florida? Well, the United States does, and all the underlying land is owned by the United States of America. You can't like buy it and secede from the Union. Like, yeah, the government is the one that ensures that the property is part of the territory and is defended by the military and all that other bullshit, right?
our homestead exemption is not strong enough to help these folks because the property gets assessed so high. And that's the thing. If you buy a home for $300,000 and you know there's certain tax, well then what? 10 years later, they say it's worth $700,000, and so, and they say, you know, there's homestead stuff that helps protect you to a certain extent, but you're paying more. And a lot of people can't afford that.
Where does Florida's revenue come from? I think the majority of it is from sales tax.
I think that that's a big issue, and I know we're going to be really looking at ways to bring people relief from that, because I think it's been really something that's pinching a lot of homeowners, particularly seniors on fixed income. But the reality is people have seen, and this is not the state, we don't control this, you know, we've not allowed any of that stuff to happen. We've been cutting taxes, but people have seen their property tax liability go up over these last years because the property is being assessed higher and higher. And the reality is you don't really know how much your home is worth until someone offers you money and is willing to pull the trigger on a sale. That's how a market works. You can say it's worth this much, but if no one's willing to come and offer you that much, then why should you pay taxes on that amount? And so there's a lot of things that need to be done with that. But as part of our DOGE initiative, our state task force will look into local government expenditures by utilizing publicly.
How do they make so much money with only a 6% sales tax? Honest to God, I don't know. Or maybe they just don't pay very much in services for Florida. I'm not sure. Monthly revenue report. What the fuck? Sales taxes. Damn. There's a separate corporate income tax for Florida? Is that normal? I guess maybe it's normal. Jesus. Can you explain why you rent instead of owning? Because I don't want to deal with all the bullshit of owning a house. Fuck that. Insurance taxes? Documentary stamp tax? The fuck? Corporate filing fees? Wait, what? This can't be right. What is this? Or is this? Like, you're telling me they make this much money on corporate filing fees? That just seems like a lot compared. Like, I don't know, filing fees I feel like are always really low compared to the actual amount you're paying in tax. Okay, I don't know. Jesus. Consumption taxes, including sales tax, which sucks, are revenue monsters. Yeah, I mean, the sales tax is here. What the fuck is a documentary stamp tax? That also seems really high. What the fuck is that? Isn't it cheaper to own a house? Renters in the end pay for upkeep of the property, but do not get the benefit of house going up in value. How many? I feel like are you trolling me? I feel like I know your name. You're a long-term chatter. Is this a troll? Why are you doing this? Documentary stamp tax is an excise tax imposed on certain documents executed, delivered, or recorded in Florida. Oh, documentary. Okay, so not like documentaries, but a documentary stamp tax. Never mind. Okay, but I understand. Okay. What is Indian gaming? Gaming usually means gambling. So this is probably somehow they collect taxes from reservation casinos or something, maybe? Okay. Based. Wow. Epic. Elon Musk makes an admission about the productivity email his group sent to federal workers. Department of Government Efficiency head says he wants to test whether federal employees are capable of replying to an email. Elon Musk said the blanket email sent to federal employees asking for a response about their weekly accomplishments or risk termination was a test to see if they had a pulse. The tech billionaire tasked by President Donald Trump with slashing bureaucracy and federal spending through his Department of Government Efficiency wrote on his X platform Friday that all government staff would receive an email requesting specifics of what they'd achieved last week. Workers reportedly received the email Saturday afternoon from the Office of Personnel Management with the subject line, "What did you do last week?" Failure to reply would be taken as resignation, Musk tweeted. Less than 24 hours before the deadline, Musk hinted that the emails were simply a ruse to ensure federal employees were capable of responding to his correspondence. Okay, epic. Definitely not a bureaucratic waste of fucking time, but wow. This was basically a check to see if the employee had a pulse and was capable of replying to an email. This mess will get sorted out this week. A lot of people in for a rude awakening and strong dose of reality. They don't get it yet, but they will. Okay. This email is interesting because it clearly shows that Musk is not talking to anyone else before implementing his ideas, given Patel's pushback. I think others realized it was going to be a ton of extra work with zero structure beyond a Musk tweet destiny. Yeah, but that's the issue with all of these Trump things. Trump is not communicating with anybody, right? That's why when Trump is doing these crazy executive orders and then is it the OPM, Office of Personnel Management? Was it the OPM memo? I feel like that wasn't the abbreviation. I thought it was OMB. What the fuck does that stand for? Office of Management Budget. This was the one. When the OMB memo went out for like the federal spending freezes, everybody freaked the fuck out as well. But it's like them freaking out isn't an example of like, wow, Trump is making big changes and blah, blah, blah. It's an example of Trump being an ineffective leader because you should never be issuing these orders without conferring with your department heads first to make sure that everybody's on board and everybody's like ready to come along with your program. Like, this is what we're going to do. You know, get your department ready for it. But instead people find out like on fucking Twitter, like, oh, I see, there's a massive upheaval coming from my department and I just found out today and my deadline is like a week from now. Great. Ugh. JD is still nowhere to be seen. He was over in Europe abdicating U.S. leadership of the world. All right. Check if there's any fun stuff going on today. When these orders started going out, our department leadership were unsure how to comply with them. Yeah, that's not good. You have to like confer with your officers. That's the whole point of having them as the president, is to make sure they're ready and on board for incoming changes. But have you seen the acceptance speech from Merz, the new German chancellor, ripping Trump and Musk apart? I have not. How long is it? You can link if you want. I can't believe the U.S. voted against the resolution to condemn Russian aggression and demand the immediate withdrawal of Putin's forces. We could have just abstained, right?